Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode 4. Yes, the episode 4. And yes, I know it's been a long drill. This is a long, long series on website authoring, but come on, it's going to be worth it because by the time you go through all these episodes, there is nothing in website authoring that you cannot be able to handle. Is it the theoretical aspect? Is it the practical aspect? You should be good to go because website authoring is majorly part of the topic that is quite challenging. And I've taken out the whole time and day to be able to break it down for you. So we've done episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. We're not doing previously. We're just going to go right to it. Please, if you're just joining in, I would always recommend to watch the previous episode before joining in to the latest episode. Okay, so I'm just going to begin from this. Now, let's talk about cell padding. And I want to talk about cell padding today. Now, when we talk about cell padding, it simply means that this is what the space between the cell content and the border of the cell. Again, is the space between what the cell content and the border of the cell. It can be applied to both the table tag, which is a table, and each item of table cells using what the table TD or the table header. Please note that I said it can be applied to both the table, okay, and this. So essentially, we'll talk about cell padding. We said this is a cell. Let's, for example, this is a cell. Right? It is that space between the cell content and the what border of the cell. That space between what the cell content and the border. So there's a space between the cell content and what the border of the cell. That is what we mean when we talk about what cell padding. Okay, so before we proceed into question 7, there's a need for us to look at the hint. Okay, now look at this. They said copy the table and paste it twice. Place a BL. This means break line. You probably see this, right? This means break what line. Okay, between each table to set a line break. Now, the line break tag does not have a close tag. So we're going to add an ID attribute to each table so we can be able to identify them. So this is the first ID we're adding here, right? This is the second ID we're adding. This is the third ID we're adding. Hope that makes sense. So essentially, we want to add 3 and then want to make this cell padding come to life for you, right? Now, in the table tag for the middle table, add the single CSS style padding property with a value of what 25 pixels. And we'll see that in the question. From the bottom table, we can set the different padding by stating, okay, by stating, we can set the different padding by stating all 4 values, stating the top, and then rotating what the clockwise. All this is going to be explained. Shortened version. Look at this. So we need to note this. Shortened version of the CSS padding properties, where padding should be specified in full for each side. Again, we have to shorten the version of the CSS padding properties where the padding should be specified in full for each side. So please, let's take note of that. Now, this only sets the padding for the table borders. To change each cell, the same style attribute, okay, properties and values we need copying and pasting into, let's take note of this, into the table head and what the table data. Okay, so let's look at border spacing. Now, when we talk about border spacing, what do we mean? I say for border spacing, this is the space between the borders. So if we're having a border here, let's say this is a border, right? This is a table, an external table. Now, the border spacing is that space between them. This is the what? The internal what? Grid line. We have the external grid lines and we have what the internal what grid line. So that's the space between what the borders of individual cells is set, and this is set in the table. Border spacing is set in the table. This is very important. The style attribute is used with the border spacing properties. So you have border spacing, and then you can now add the value for it. Two values can be passed into these properties. Now, for example, it is important for you to understand that we have the horizontal spacing first, then the vertical spacing. So it carries out what? The horizontal spacing first, and then the vertical spacing first. Now, for example, when we give, for example, border spacing and we probably put 2 pixels and then we leave it, it simply means that this is going to be applied to both the horizontal and the vertical. Okay, so I'll probably show you an example. So again, when you see something like this, a border here is that means there's going to be a border internal and external. Now, and when we have an ID top here, now this simply means that this border spacing here simply means that this is going to be the horizontal, the spacing here is going to be the horizontal, and then this is going to be what? The vertical. Because we've come to understand that when we are applying the properties, it goes with horizontal spacing first, then it goes with what? The vertical what? Spacing. This is very important. Now, we said that if the horizontal right here, if the horizontal and vertical border spacing are the same, you can use what? A single value. So if you are giving both horizontal, that's why when you see we give 2x, it simply means that both the horizontal and the vertical are what? Are the same. Hope this is clear. And please let me know in the comment section if there's any area you're finding what? Any what? Challenge. And I'll be there to reply to all your comments that you have. So let's look at question 5. Open tax 3c.html, copy the table so that there are 3 tables, one above the other. Okay, one above the other on page. Change the caption from foot to no padding. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to open the website authoring lessons slide. I'm going to open it here. So I have this. So let's look at it. It's what? Tax 3c. So I have tax 3c. Okay, so let me check. Do I have question 5? Okay, so let me open this in website authoring and let's see where we go from there. The expression web 4. Okay, so I said we should what? Copy the table so that there are 3 tables. So let me copy it. Tax 3c. So I'm going to open it here. Open with the Microsoft Expression Web 4. So I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to copy this table right here. Right click, copy, and then right here to question 5, where you have the body, hit on enter, and then right here, I'm going to what? Paste it. So now let me save this. Save, preview this to what? Microsoft Edge. So this is what I have. Okay, the food sales. So what am I doing? They said change the caption from food sales to no padding. So this one has what? No padding. Okay, so the caption here to what? No padding. So I'll change it here to no padding. Okay, before I do that, literally before I do that, they said copy to so there are 3 tables, one above the other. Okay, on the page. So I'm going to copy it. I've copied it already, so I'll come here, paste it again. That's 2. That's 3. So now I'm going to come here. I'm going to save and I'm going to refresh this. So now this is what we have. Now look at this. They said the break line between each table. So we're going to use a break line to separate them, right? Because the spaces are not going to work, obviously. So we use this. We'll use what? The line break. Let me add the line break here. So just gonna hit enter. Line break. Add another one, and doesn't have a closing tag. Probably do two here, and then come here. Do this. Do this. Save this, and I'll refresh. So good. This is what I want at the end of the day. Now, because again, this hint is very important. Okay, this hint is very important because again, the hint is the line breaks is to create the space between the table. Now, I will change the caption from food sales to what? No padding. Food sales to no padding. I'll probably just copy this, right? No padding, copy, no padding. So I'll do that. Control backspace to remove the words, and I'll paste it. No padding. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to refresh. So this one is, oh, sorry, undo the work. It's showing me the last one, so I have to come to the first one here. Sorry, no padding. I'm going to save this and refresh. Right, I'm going to refresh. So no padding. That's what I want. Now they said, okay, for the top table, padding set to 25 for the middle table. So padding set to what? 25. Now for us to be able to add the cell padding, it's very important that we need to take note of this. Okay, so how do we have this for this? Now for the padding, right, this is what we are doing here. Okay, so come here. So this is the, right, now remember we're adding to what? To the table data, or what? TH, that's where padding is. So add it here. Styles padding, and it's going to be what? 25 pixels. Okay, so essentially what we are doing here is they said for the middle table. So when they say set to 25 pixels, it simply means we're setting it across. Okay, we're setting this what? Across. Okay, so the padding height is going to be 25 pixels. Okay, 25 pixels, 25 pixels. Now we can do this in such a way that we can put padding top, padding right, padding bottom, but at least this is also going to work. Okay, because we just want to explain it. When we are looking at it in CSS, we are going to differentiate them. Okay, so we have this. I'm going to save this, and let's see what we have done here. Let's refresh this. Sorry, let me redo. I'll copy this. I'm going to copy this. This is why it's very important to look at your work. So this one is, I'm going to add an ID here. So I'll put this top. I'll add an ID. ID here is going to be top, so I can see them. And I'll add an ID here. So let me put the table here. Tab, tab. So I'll put an ID here. This is going to be what? Middle. Okay, I'll put an ID here. So again, it can be confusing. ID here. And this is going to be what? Bottom. Okay. So here under the middle, yes. So I can come here to do what? Paste this style padding. I'm going to save this, come here and refresh. So this is what we have. Okay. So I have the padding here set to what? 25. Okay, across board 25. So let me do that again. for this as well. So I have style, right? Padding 25 pixels. Okay, for the padding top, 25 pixels for the right. So essentially now, so it doesn't confuse anybody. So let's do this. Since they are the same, okay, so we have this, right? Now look at this. Now you see that there's a space within that cell. Now, one of the things I want you to take note of is the fact that we can, since all of them are set to 25 pixels, right? We can do this in such a way that we can have only this. Now, I want to show you something. Now, okay, I think this to undo, redo. Okay, now we have this, right? So I can move this as well. Okay, leave it to 25. And if I save this and I come here to refresh, right, what do we have? It's still showing the same thing. Why? Because when we set to 25, it's seeing that both top, bottom, left, and right are both the same thing, right? Now, although please take note in for CSS, right, the shortened version of CSS, right, we're going to have them. They said in the shortened version of CSS, where padding should be specified in full for each one. So when we come to CSS padding properties, it needs to be specified in full. But here we'll just, since it's just the HTML, we'll just put in this. But when it comes to CSS, you have to specify it in full. So here I can do this style because we have to specify it for each one. Padding, right? 25 pixels, right? And if I come here to style, padding, 25 pixels. Okay. I'm going to save this and I'll come here and I'm going to refresh this. Now you can see that this is showing here, right? Now let me do that for all of them. So what I will do here is this is for the body. So style, padding, 25 pixels. Okay, so I'll come here to style equals to padding. Okay, 25 pixels, right? Styles, 25 pixels. Okay, so styles equals to padding, 25 pixels, right? Move down here again a bit. So I'm going to put this here. And at this point, I'll just copy, right? But it's always important for you to type the codes. Don't just paste. The reason why you have to type the code is so that you can always remember them, right? So again, practice is the key to mastering. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Remember, it's applied to only the table data and what? The table headers. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to refresh. So you see that this is the padding that has been placed on all of them. So we have the spaces like this. Okay, so you can see that the spaces this. So now what's the next thing here? They said we should what? To know padding set to 25 for the middle table. So this is going to be what? Padding set to 25 as the caption. So I'm going to highlight this. So you can just get only this. If I don't get it, it's fine. So yes, I do get it. So right here, I'll come here and I'm going to scroll to the top. Okay, so right here, I will change this. This is the middle, change it from full sales. Now I'm doing control and backspace on my keyboard, control and backspace, and I'm going to paste this. So this is padding set to 25 what pixels. Now I'm going to refresh this. So this is fine. Okay, so this is fine. Now the next thing is variable padding for the lower table. So that's the caption for this variable what padding. So I'm going to do this for the lower table, which is what? The bottom table. So I'm going to remove the foot sales and then put what? Variable padding. Probably do this. Yes, that's fine. Variable padding, and I'm going to save this. Now for the lower table, set the cell padding for both tables. Headers and footers and table data for the middle table set to 25. And the padding of the lower table to have a top padding of 25 pixels, a bottom padding of 20 pixels, and left and right padding of 15 pixels. So what we are going to do here is that even in the HTML, yes, I know I said that again, you can just make 25 to just indicate that both the bottom, both the top, bottom, left, right are all set to 25 pixels. But now we're having a variation, right? So it simply means that I would advise you to type them in full because again, you're doing 25 for top, you're doing 20 for bottom, you're doing 15, 15. Yes, it's fine because again, you're using the Wisigwe. What you see is what you get. But as an examiner, it's important for you to understand that you have to specify them. And I will show you how you can specify them in your HTML for your variable padding. So work with me on this because I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Let me see. I thought I've changed it to the variable pattern for the bottom. I'm still seeing foot sales. Let me refresh. Okay, it's showing. Okay, but it's probably showing. Let me see. Okay, probably when we do this. So here, this is what I'm going to do here. So this is going to be style. I want you to work with me on this. This is going to be style. So if you notice this part right here, right, you will notice that what you are having here is, look at it, this is what your top, this is your right, this is your bottom, this is your left. Okay, now I'm just showing you the two ways on which this can be done. Okay, two ways on which this can be done. But again, this is better because again, you can be able to do the padding top, the padding bottom, the padding right, the padding left, even in your HTML. Okay, so I'll probably just change this to this, remove this, and then make it padding right, padding top. Okay, so what are we having? 25 pixels, semicolon, padding bottom, which is what, 20 pixels. Okay, then we have padding right, which is what, 15 pixels, semicolon, and then padding left, which is what, 15 pixels as well. So I'm just going to verify this as much as possible. So here I said, yeah, the question says that what, to have a padding of 25 pixels, padding of 25 pixels, bottom padding is 20, and then left and right padding is what, 15 pixels. So this is very, very important. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to check this. So let's check this and see. Can you see that? Right? So you probably see this. Now, you probably not take notice of this yet until you probably have a text around it. Where you probably have a text around it, and then you probably see that, okay, this is the that here, this is the top, which is 25, the bottom is what, 20, the left and right is what, 15. Okay, so this is very important. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do that for the table data as well. So here I have what, styles. Okay, I have the padding top, which is 25 pixels. Okay, 25 pixels. I have the padding bottom, which is what, the 20 pixels. Okay, I don't want to give any space. You can still do that. If you're giving spaces, not, it's still fine. I have the padding right, which is what, 15 pixels. Okay, semicolon. I have the padding left, and is what, 15 pixels. Okay, I'm just going to do this for this, and then I'm going to what, copy and paste. So styles is equals to padding top. Okay, so I have 25 pixels, semicolon, padding bottom, and I have what? A 20 pixels, semicolon, I have padding right, I have what? 15 pixels, semicolon, I have padding what? Left, and I have what? 15 pixels. Okay, so now I'm just going to what? Copy. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to copy this. Okay, I'll copy this and I'll come here and I'm going to copy this. Sorry, yes, copy this. Right, I'll copy this and I'm going to copy this. Yes, I'm pasting on each of them. That's what I'm doing. Pasting, Control V. If you want, what I'm doing is Control V. Right, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving a space and then I'm doing Control V. I'm giving a space and I'm doing Control V. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving a space here and I'm doing Control V. Scroll down, I'm giving a space here, I'm doing Control V. Right here, I'm giving a space and I'm doing Control V, and I'm going to save this. Now, if you look at it and I refresh, this is what we have. The inconsistency across board. Okay? The inconsistencies across board. Now, let's look at this. Now, they said what? Set the padding for both. Now they said set the padding for both the table, okay, for both the table, header, footer, and table data of the middle table to 25 and the padding of the lower table to have this. So we're also setting this for the table as well. Okay, you're wondering why am I not having that screenshot? And I'll show you. So here, I'll come here, I'll probably leave this here. So I'll probably be, I'll add my style here, right? Okay, so I have my padding, right? So this is going to be set to what? 25 pixels, okay? And I'll probably have an ID here. So I'm going to save this. Now this is the one for the middle. So if I come here and I refresh, this is what we have. Can you see that? So now this is set to 25 across board. Now if you look at it, do we have the same thing? Yes, we do. Okay, yes, we do. Okay, and then for the table here, I'm going to do that for the table as well. So I'll probably do this. So this is going to be the style. Okay, so this is going to be padding. Okay, top 25 pixels, semicolon. Of course, I've talked about the use of semicolon when we're having multiple declarations. Okay, and I've explained that across board in previous videos, right? So I have padding, bottom, which is 20 pixels, semicolon, padding, right, which is 15 pixels, semicolon, padding what? Left, which is what? 15 pixels. Okay, so now I'm going to save this, and then if I come here and I refresh, so we are having this across board. So I think now you can be able to see the difference here, because here we had 25, both of them are the same, which is 15, and they can see that the top and bottom is not the same thing, right? Which is what we have here. So hope that makes sense. So this is very important. Okay, the next one we're going to do is tax 9, right? Tax 9. Once you finish web page from tax 4, for each table cell, set the padding to have a top value of 8 pixels, bottom of what? 12 pixels, a left value of 20 pixels, and a right value of what? 16 pixels. Set the internal and border spacing for the table to 20 pixels. Your final web page should look like this. Okay, so how do we go about this? So let's do this. Tax 9. Let's open this tax 9. tax 9. Okay, so I'm going to right click on this, open with. Okay, so this is what I have. Let me preview this. Microsoft Edge. Okay, so the first one is they said for each table cell, set the padding to have a value of 8 pixels, a top value of 8 pixels. So let's start with that. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I think I can close. Um, okay, I think I'll just leave it here. So here I have what? Um, this. So let's do this. So styles. So this is going to be padding top. Padding top. What are we having? 8 pixels. This is going to be 8 pixels. Semicolon. Padding what? Bottom. So what are we having in padding bottom? 12 pixels. Semicolon. Padding right. That's what we're having in padding right. Um, a left value of 20 and a right value of 16. So my right is 16 pixels, semicolon. My padding left is what? 20 pixels. Okay, so I can check across board. Let me look at it again. The top is 8 pixels, bottom is 12, right is 16, left is okay, left value of 20. So this is correct. Okay, so I'm going to do that again here. Styles equals to padding. So my padding top is what? 8 pixels, semicolon. My padding bottom, okay, is what? 12 pixels. My padding right is what? 16 pixels. My padding left is 20 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to save this and let's see what we have done so far. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, so we'll probably get in there. For some reason, I feel that that space, okay, I'll probably see something that as they, let me see. Okay, I think it's the same thing. Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing. So okay, so we have this. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So styles. Okay, so padding top is what? 8 pixels, semicolon. Padding bottom is what? 12 pixels, semicolon. Padding what? Right is what? 16 pixels, semicolon. Padding what? Left is what? 20 what? Pixels. And then another one, styles is equals to what? Padding top is what? 8 pixels. Padding bottom is 12 pixels. Okay. Padding right is 16 pixels. Padding left is 20 pixels. Okay. So we have this. So I'm going to save this again and I'm going to refresh. I'm going to refresh this. Okay, this is fine. So what I will do now is I will just probably copy and paste. So I will copy this and I'll paste it here. Just give a space, Control V, 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 give a space, Ctrl V, give a space, Ctrl V, give a space here, Ctrl V, give a space, Ctrl V, give a space here, Ctrl V, give a space, Ctrl V, give a space here, Ctrl V. So I'm going to save this. Okay. So this is what we have. Now we're not done because look at it right here. Um, they said set the internal and border spacing, set the padding to have this, set the internal and border spacing for the table to 20 pixels. Now remember when I said something here, and this is very important. When we give 20 pixels here, it simply means that this is being applied to what the horizontal and what the vertical what spacing. So what we'll do here is this. Right here on the table, right here on the table, I'm going to give styles equals to border spacing 20 pixels. I'm going to save it and then I'm going to refresh. Now what we are doing is we are writing codes, right? And the reason why I'm taking my pains for you to learn the code is because of people one, right? It's important for you to learn the code because when you learn the code, this is very important. Now take note of this. You're wondering, how did I get this? Now look at this. They said set the internal and border spacing. When we give a border spacing in the table, automatically it will be set to what both the internal and the border spacing. And that's what we have. So everything is going to properly space out, right? Each of the cells would space out across board. So this is very important. Okay. Hope you are learning in this course. So this is very important. So this is the code for it. Okay. Now the next one is create a new web page with a table that looks like this and has the caption sales team. The image that you require is called tutu.jpg. Now, these hints are very important. So I'm going to go to the hints and then we're going to look at what? We're going to look at this particular question, but I want to explain these hints so that you can probably what? Understand. Okay, so let me get my pen and let's get to work. Now, look at this. I want you to actually look at this. Let me do this so you can probably see this. Probably get this right here, and then you can actually see the content of this. So let me do this. So this is perfect. Now, when we create the basic markup, as we've done in earlier questions, well, what is the basic markup? The basic markup is quite simple. We're talking about your IDOC type, HTML, head section, body section, and then you close. Don't forget your closing tag comes with a forward slash. Okay, starting with the table. So we'll look at the tables. We're basically having the table. In the table is split into three, right? So you have the table head, the table headers, the table footers, and then the table bodies. Okay, the table attributes to show the borders, the caption, the headers, the bodies. We've all talked about that, and then don't forget each of them has what? A table row. When creating a new table like this, it is wise. Can you see that? I mean, when I add things like this in my notes, please pay attention. It is wise to add a single letter as the content of each cells when you create it. This is what I do. That is why if you watch my videos on website authoring, you will see I'm always adding letters. Why? So that it's easy for me to identify each one of them. That is why it is wise to add a single letter as the content of each cell when you create it. So you don't start going around saying which one is A, which one is B, which one is C, which one is D. So in this case, if you look at it, we don't have them here. But in this case, single letter A has been added to the top left, and then letter B to the left cell, so on. This was when I was creating it and I was taking my note. This is because some web browser do not display a table cell. They don't display a table cell. And now let me just tell you, the code for space in website authoring is and NBSP semicolon. This is for space. You are wondering, yes, there's a code for it. Uh-huh. There's a code for it. Literally, there's a code for it. So it's an NBSP, which is space, semicolon, which is space. Okay, so the web runners do not display space, even if you put this. And that's why we use letters to be able to identify the content of each cell. Okay, so this is very important. Now, it's important for us to understand. I'll probably just reduce this so we can actually see the whole content. Now, the top row here, right, has two cells. The first of these is a cell that covers two rows, right? The top row. So you can notice that this has been merged because it cuts across what? Two rows. And what do you use? You use what? A row span. That's what you use. If it cut across the columns, is your column span. Let's put it this way. For your row span, it cuts across vertically. For your column span, it cuts across horizontally. Okay, so we are invariably telling the browser that this cell is going to be spanned across the two rows. Span means merge. In website also in chapter 21, it means what? Merge. I want you to learn the basic concept. I'm here to break down website authoring for you so that when you see it, no matter the kind of question they would set, they would bring in this life, as long as IGCSE ICT is concerned, trust me, it is a done deal. And yes, you're wondering, what do after this, we'll start looking at papers in the A levels, and so that you can try to understand how to answer all these questions. I know you're excited about that. Okay, so the second cell is the top row, okay, which is still the top row that covers three columns. So for that, what do we use? We use what? The code span. So notice what we've used here. This is what the row span that I've cut across, and still the top row, right, is having what? Is having what? Three columns, because this is column one, column two, column three, and it's cutting across the three columns. And for that, what do we use? We're going to use what? The code span. Okay, so this is very important. So we use the code span attribute to tell the browser that this cell is going to span what? Three columns. That's what we use, right? So I've talked about the fact that um, the word span means to what? To merge. Okay, so row span means row merge. Co-span here means what? Colon what? Merge. So this is very important. Now, the next thing here is insert an image, right? The images you can insert are, it could be pictures, it could be icons, okay? And they're often used in what? Web pages, okay? They're also often used for hyperlinks. We'll talk about hyperlinks in the other episode. We'll talk about hyperlinks as well. So to complete the web page for question 5, we need to replace it at A in the top left of that with the image tutor, which is question 6. Okay. Now, to do this, you have to tell the web browser the name of the image source, which could be stored in the same folder. Please take note. There's what we call a relative file path. Okay, a relative what? File path. Whatever you do, it shouldn't be absolute. And I'll paint you a picture of this. When you do spreadsheet, okay, because this is always a common issue, right? When you do spreadsheet, the path you have, is it relative or absolute? Now, I'm not talking about self-referencing, because we know that yes, self-referencing, we have absolute, we have relative. I'm talking about the part of your table array, specifically your table array. When you're looking up from another workbook, is it a relative or an absolute? It's a relative. And it's relative because that same file is in the same folder. But when you have it in a different folder, you have to use absolute. Now, I'm not saying that is bad. I'm saying when it comes to professional settings, fine, you can do that. But for your exam, it has to be relative. And there are citations of that in your textbook that proves my point to what I'm saying. That's why most students don't get the mark. It's because they are using absolute. It might work in your computer, but if they take it to another computer, it's not going to work because it has a different 5 parts. Are we getting this? So this is very, very important. Okay. So again, make sure that you have copied the file into what? Into your tax work folder. Add the following to the markup. As some browser may not display the image, you can still tell the browser to replace the image with alternative text. That's why most time we add what? An alternative what? Text. We use the word ought. Ought equals to double speech marks, and then we put what we want that text to be if it's not displaying an image for us. Okay, so again, we can use it to describe the image so that the user can still understand what is being shown, even though they cannot see the image. And I'll probably give you a public figure, and I'm very sure this is not going to be off the whatever. So we have Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, right, is a Manchester City player, and you see that if I have an alternative text of Kevin De Bruyne, right, what does it mean? It simply means that even if the image is not there, everybody can know that it's Kevin De Bruyne. So this is very important. So now let's go back. We've talked a lot. We've talked a lot about this. So I want to ensure that this is happening. Okay, so I would do this and then I will talk about this because there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about question 6. So I'm going to open question 6 and now I can close this. Now I can close question 5. I can close tax 3C. I'll probably leave tax 9. Right? Question 6. Question 6. Where are you? Question 6. Right. Question 6 is here. I'm going to right click, open with, and I'm going to do the Microsoft Expression Web. So we're having a fairly blank table. Not good, right? But yes, we have to do it. So let's look at it. How many columns, how many rows do we have? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And 4 columns. So put this here. So I'm having 4 columns. Okay. And how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm having what? 5 what? Rows. Right? 4 columns. And I'm having 5 rows. Okay. So now let's see how we can do this as much as possible. So come here. Let's put a table. So I have my table here. Okay. So I have my TR, okay. And I have my TD. Probably going to put an A here. So let's look at it. For the first row, what do we have? We have 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So literally we have 4. So I'm probably going to do this. Let's see. So we have, okay, let me do this. Okay, so we have this. And then for this, we have B. Let me get everything complete and then we'll know what to do. Right? Okay, so we have this. Sorry. TD. Okay, we have B. Okay, so I'm going to put a border here. For now, I'm going to put a border here so we can actually see it. It's important for you to visualize what you're doing. So it's important for us to see what we are doing before it all makes sense. And yes, this is border collapse. Literally, this is border collapse. So I'm probably going to do border collapse right now. So this is border collapse styles. Okay, border collapse. Now for border collapse, we have 2, collapse or separate. So we have collapse. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Now let's collapse this. Okay, okay, not bad. Right? So we're having 1, 2, 3, 4, literally 4, 1. Okay, so I'll probably do this here. Okay, so this C, and this is D. This is D as well. So if I refresh this, I've saved it. So we're having this. Okay, so it's fine. We'll probably put this to work. Now I'm going to do it again for the other one, and I'll show you what we're going to do really, what we're really going to do. So here I have this, and what we are going to replace. This is very important. I'm going to show you what we are going to replace. So this is, both of them are table headers, but I will show you how we can do this, because again, it's important for you to understand that while we're having our tables and rows, we need to replace each of them. Okay, we need to replace what? Each of them. This is very important. Okay, so this is very important. So come here. Now notice this is what? TH. So I'll probably just put this expenses here, right? Expenses. And I'm having this as what? TH. TH. Now let's come here. Can you see this? Can you see this? But again, what I want to do is I want to undo it, and then let's just finish everything. We have what? One, two, three, four, five. Five rules, right? So I'm going to copy this, two, three, four, five. Okay, so I have five. One, two, three, four, and then five. Okay, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to come here and refresh. So this is what we have across A, B, C, D, and it goes on and on and on and on, right? So this is what we are having. So what I'm going to do now is, now let the process begin. So the first one I have is the table row, and it's spanning across the first row, the two rows. So I'll come here, right? So which is the first one? This is going to be row span, and this is going to be two. So if I'm doing this, remember this is, so this is going to be, now normally this is supposed to be one, two, three, four, right? It's supposed to be four. Now for the second one, I'm going to remove this, making it three. Okay, so I'm going to save, and I'll come here, and I'm going to refresh. So this is what we are, can you see this? This is what we are having. Hope you're seeing this. This is what we are having. Now, the next one is, this is spanned across, right? So that means this for B is what? Co-span. Co-span is going to be what? 3, right? And I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove this, right? Because this is spanning across what? The columns. So I'm going to delete this. Save, and I'll come here, and then we have this. Can you see this? And then we have this. So this is very important. Now, I'm going to start putting all the values right now. So I have expenses. So I have sales team, have the caption sales team. So right here in the table, I'm going to add caption, caption, sales team. Okay. Then what else? I have Lee, and Maxine. Maxine. Right? So I'm going to do this for co-span is going to be expenses. I'm going to use this to say image here. Enter image. Okay, enter image. So I'll come here. I'm going to refresh. Okay, good. So we're having an idea. But remember, I'm changing this to what? TH. No, the first one I'll leave it like that. The second one is TH. And I'm going to close what? The TH. So I'm going to save this. Come here. I'm going to refresh. So that's what we have. The other ones are what? Lee, I mean, is what? They're all headings. So I'm going to do that here. TH, 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 TH. Now, why TA? Because it's going to make it send to the line. So here I have what? I mean, what else do we have? So I have Lee, right? I have Lee. I have Lee. I have Amin. I have Maxine. Okay. I have Maxine. Okay. So now you will see that this is what colon span, and this right here is what row span. Good. Okay. So Maxine, let's think we've done that. All right. Yes. The next one is, take note of this in each of the rows. The first one is travel. So that means this one is TH. Okay. TH. And of course, you have to close it. TH. And then you have what? Travel. What else again? We have what? Hotel, which is this right here. Hotel. Okay. We have hotel. What else do we have? Food. That's the first row. Food. So I'm going to save this. Okay. So I'll come here. I'm going to refresh. So you can see that's what we're having. Okay. So now everything else here is what? The amount. Okay. The amount. I'll probably do this because I'll probably just split my screen into two so I can be able to see this as well. So permit me to do this, please, so it's easier for me to just see the rest of them. For travels, I'm having the pound symbol. Okay, paste this here. Okay, we're having, let's see, yeah, this is right here. So having this, just want to ensure that I have this recorded. Okay, so we have 162.20. Okay, in that row we're having again 285.75. We're having 150.00. For the hotel, we're having 240.00. We're having 182.40. We're having 104.50. Okay, I think I did 240, 180. Sorry, this one is 322.00. Okay, 322.00. For food, we're having 146.50. We're having 102.10. Then we're having 104.50. Okay, so that's what we have. So I'm going to save this. Now let's come here and let's refresh. So that's what we have. Okay, now the next thing for us to do is for us to insert this file here. Now if you come to my source file, you will see that we have this image here called to do, and that's what you have here in your own laptop as well. Okay, so I'm going to do this because it's relative. I'm going to impute this here. Okay, I'm going to impute this here, and this is going to be the image tag, which is img. Okay, it's going to be the source. So what's the source? It's going to be total dot jpg. Alternative text is going to be image of a total. Yeah, a total. And I'll close it. Okay, so I'm going to save this right now. And if I come here, I'm going to refresh. And I'm going to refresh. So this is what we have. Now, if you look at this, you see that that is exactly what we have there. So this is very important. Okay, so this is very important. That's what I have. So now let's look at this, because now we want to do a lot of explanations and explaining all what we have done right here. But hope this is fun. Now, I know I have a past papers where I do most of the time drag and drop, and I do this. But this is the website authoring series, guys. This is the website authoring series, and I'm here to teach you how to write the codes, so that at the end of the day, you just know how to do what each of them is doing. You know how each function is performing, and trust me, if you go through this diligently and you practice with it, you're gonna have that learner's award that you're craving for. Literally, I know you will have it. Where to store an image? Now let's do some teaching right here. Images must be stored in what? The same folder as the web page. So whatever web page you're working on. Now, for example, this web page here is stored what? Is stored in this folder. So everything is stored in the same what? Folder. Okay, this is called the current folder. Notice in the markup how the file name todo.jpg is given as the image source. This does not contain any reference to which folder the image is stored, because there is no absolute reference to a folder. I've said this. I've said it time and time again. Please do not use an absolute. So this is, do not use this. No absolute, right? Don't use absolute. The browser automatically looks in the current folder for the image. This means if the web page is open on another computer, as long as, and key emphasis of that, as long as the image is stored in the same folder as the web page, it would work properly. If an absolute reference has been used for a file, for example, this is a good example. This is not it. This should not be recommended at all. So I think this is clear. The debate is over. Okay, the teaching is out. Now that ends the debate. Okay, so apply alternate text. The image has been replaced with the text company logo defined by the alternate text to tell the browser that the missing image should be. The text is also used in some browser by text readers. And again, this is the image tag. If you want to use the image tag, I must have an alternate, which is this, like I've done, which is the alt, and then the content has to be here. Okay, the content has to be there. The attribute added for all browsers to display the image as expected. This must have a value attached to it within what? The double speech marks, the quotation marks, even if it is left empty. Although it is a bad practice to do your alternate text and then leave it empty. Okay, so this is very important. A common mistake made is to use absolute pathway for files such as images or style sheet. I have said this and I'm repeating it again. I'm emphasizing it. Do not use an absolute pathway file path for me. Don't use it for your IGCSE ICT when you are imputing your images, your style sheet, and so on, even your videos. Don't do that. Okay. The bitmap graphics. There are three common file types for bitmap image used in websites. We have the JPEG, we have the GIF, and we have the PNG. You can use a graphics package such as Adobe Photoshop or GIMP or Paint.net to change images from one format to another by opening them and using save as. Again, what I always prefer is the Paint.net or probably the GIMP, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it is free. Yes, the Paint.net is free. The Adobe Photoshop, you have to have what? The Adobe what? Suite. And I have the Adobe Photoshop. If you're wondering, I have it right here because I've paid for it. Okay, I'm having a yearly plan, an annual subscription for it. But again, the paint.net is free, so why bother yourself with it? And this is the reason why I recommended this for everyone, because the paint.net is what is free. You're not having to buy it, so why not go for it? Okay, good. All right. Again, by opening them and using the save as to change the file format for a new image. Now, when you are changing formats, you're changing an image, it's always recommended that you use what? The save as. Okay, you use what? The save as. Okay, the vector graphics. Another file type that is growing in popularity is what? The SVG file type. Okay, the SVG what? File type. This is what? A vector what? Graphics rather than what? A raster what? Graphics. So what we use is the raster or the bitmap, and it's created in another markup language called the XML. So we probably don't need to talk about that, but we're not going to use it, but it's important that we actually want to talk about that. Okay. So again, generally, image files added to web page in the bitmap graphics, and they have this particular format: .jpg, dot let me do this. So we have .jpg, .gif, .png, and of course many other formats. But this will not work in web page. Okay, so this is important. Now, with what we have done, okay, create a new page chat within it with a table that looks like this, and it has the caption. And it has the caption last week. This image that you require is called ptct.jpg, picture web page as HTML as is viewed in your browser. So let's do this. Now, notice some things here. Notice this. It's the same concept, okay, that we're going to use here. It's the same concept that we're going to use here. But however, I want to bring your attention to this. The episode 4 is quite long. It's a long episode, but trust me, it's going to be worth your time. Now look at this. Look at this. This is table head. Let me get my blue pen. So two things here. We have what? A table head, a table header, and what? A text alignment. So these two things are here. And this is visible here, 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 and here. So please take note of that. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to open tax 10 right now. And yes, I think I can just close this. Okay, I think I can just close this. Okay, so now I have this tax 10. So let me look for tax 10. Hit on enter, and then I have my table. Hit on enter. Okay, so what are we doing here? So this is TR. Okay, TD. So let's look at the image. Let's split it. I want to split this. I want to split this so that I can do my. I have this here. Okay, so I can actually see what I'm doing right now. Good. Okay, so first thing first, let me have a caption. Caption. Okay, so I have last week. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so my TD here is what? The first one is what? Row span. And I've explained the whole concept of this. And it's cutting across two, so it's two here. And I have what? Enter, enter. Okay, image here. Okay, The next one is TD. Now, this is happening in the first row. TD, I have what? Or TH rather. I'm having what? Cospan. And this cutting across what? Let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's cutting across 4. And this is going to be expenses. Okay. Now the next one is TL. And this is going to be TH. TH. And I have Annie. TH. I have then. TH. I have Lisa. This is going to be TH. I have Uduka. Uduka. Okay. Okay. You wonder where's this name coming from? Forgive me, right? Forgive me. Okay. So the next one is TL. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have another one. 1, 1, 2. Okay. 3. So this is the third one. And this is going to be TH. Petrol. Okay. And then I have this TD. Okay. I have 182.220. Okay. And TD. Sorry, that's TD again. I have 185.75. Now, the reason why I'm not previewing it is because I've shown you a sample of how to do it with the first one. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. The only difference is that we had an extra colon, right? Literally, we can survive with that now, right? Literally, we can survive with that, right? Okay. Hope you're having a good time. Let me know in the comment section if you're having a good time, because I am having a good time, and I hope you do too, right? Okay. So let's do this. So TD. So I have this 260.00. Okay, so I'm having this. Okay. Okay, please don't get worried on me. Probably this will just be the last one, and then I would probably just end. Don't get worried on me. Okay, just stay with me on this, please. Stay with me. It's gonna be what your time and what your Easter is. Okay, right? And we have TH food. Okay, we have TD. We have 80.00 TD. We have 62.40 TD. We have 54.00 TD. We have 40 pounds. Okay, 54 pounds. We have 62 pounds. Okay, and then we have the last one, TL. We have hotel. This is good. What am I doing? Okay, so yes, I'm gonna do this. TH. Okay, I'll close this here and bring it here, hit an enter, and I'm going to do it here. Okay, so yes. Okay, so TD, your table data, which is 420 pounds. 420 pounds. 420 pounds. Okay, so that's hotel. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I have this. So I have this TD. So I'll paste this. This is 382.10. Okay, TD. Okay, here's 104.50. Okay, so I have this TD. I have 260.00. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to insert the image. Now look at this. The image is right here, and it's also then your source file. This right here. So I'm just going to insert it right now. Okay, how about that? Okay, here. Yes, let's do that. IMG SLC, and this is PTCT dot JPG. Right, right. Yay! This. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be alternate, and this is image of logo of, okay, it's probably logo of PTC travels. Okay, travels, and I'll close this. And thank you so much for splitting. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to save this. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to open this. Okay, so we have this literally, but something is not yet done. It's not looking like this. So what's happening? Yes, yes, there's something we did not do. Right? Good. Don't judge me. Okay, I'm only human. Right? Okay, so I have this one, and then I have my styles, and I have what border collapse. So I have this. Okay, and I have this. Okay, collapse. So this is it right here. And most people were like, Mr. Joe, you didn't put your brothers, you didn't put your brother. I'm only human. Don't judge me. Okay, please don't judge me. It's fine. Okay, I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. Okay. Okay, so I can rest. I've done it. Yes. Yes, I've done it. Okay. 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 All right. So this is it, right? This is it. Okay. But one more thing. We're not done yet. Okay. I know we're not done yet. Okay. This is the text alignment. The text alignment is right here. Okay. But hope we're having a good time. Really. You cannot have a good time with a gel tech. You must have a good time, because again, it's a time where you can come out to chill out with a gel tech, and you can learn and you can have a good time. It's an awesome time, really. It's an awesome time. Okay, so now we have the text align. So for which one? Petrol. Okay, so right here, I have styles. Okay, text align. Okay, so this is going to be right. Okay, I'll come here again. Text align. The styles, which is embedded CSS. Text align. Right. Okay, and one more. Yeah, one more. Yes, this is going to be for the hotel style. Text align. Right. I'm going to save this. Okay, I'll come here, and then let's do it. So good. So that's what we have at the end of the day. Yay! We did it. Okay, let me check. Did we? Yes, we did. We did it. We did it. Good. Okay, so let's learn. Okay, so it's important for us to understand that when we are talking about adjust an image size, image can be resized using two methods. Let's learn this. Image can be resized using what? Two methods. The first one is to change the size of the display image in the markup. Okay, so that means we're changing the size with width. Okay, we're using height. This is the easier of the two methods, but often uses large image files, which is slower to upload and can delay the display of a completed web page. Now, the second method is to physically resize the image. Okay, physically resize the image in a graphics package. And in this case, we're using what? The paint.net. This method has an advantage of being able to reduce the file size of an image, okay, so that a web page, okay, will display more quickly. It has the disadvantage of using slower resolutions, which can appear pixelated, particularly to which we enlarge them. So, example, this simply means that if we're changing the pixels, right, of the image from this to this, when we are enlarging there, it becomes what? A little bit blur, not very clear. So this is very important. Okay, So now let's do this. So to open the file Ajiro Tech 1.html, use both image to resize, use both method to resize this image to 80 pixels wide, okay, and compare the relative file size of the two. Save both of your web page. And now you probably see something like this, and I'll probably show you what I'm talking about. So now when we are adjusting it in the markup, it simply means that for this, right, to change the size of the image, the markup, we use either the width or the height attribute within the image tag. So please, this is very important. Now, if you change the width of the image to 80, do not specify the height for the image. This is very important. Do not specify the height of the image. It would maintain its aspect ratio. That's why. This is why we don't do that. So if we're making it the width to be 80, it's going to maintain the aspect ratio to give us the height on its own. This would help to keep the same proportion. Sometimes when we ask to distort the image, that simply means that we're giving it a different effect within a web page. That simply means we are distorting the image, you're giving the width and height. The width and height, but you're not keeping the aspect ratio of the original image. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so when using this technique to have a slow resolution on the web page, if a user wants to see more details, okay, containing a higher version of the same image, you will need to what? The web page needs to be amended so that the width attribute is no longer present, and the source attribute within the image tag points to a new file name. Now look at what I'm talking about here. Now we are going to compare two methods. I'm going to do that, and then we'll see that. Now the process of changing, resampling an image, and I will show you what it is. The process of changing the image quality is called resampling. Resampling, that's what we call it. So when we are changing the image quality, it is called what? Resampling. Images can be downsampled, okay, meaning fewer pixels for the image. So when we are downsampling an image, we are giving fewer pixels for the image. And also, it's important for us to note that we can just do that by reducing. This can also be done by just reducing the image quality. Image can also be unsampled. Unsampled means you're adding more pixels. Downsampling what? You're adding fewer pixels. So this is very important. Two things we've talked about: upsample and what? Downsampled. Okay, so this is very important. All right, so let's compare it. Right, this is two different sizes using the two different methods, and we're going to do that right now. So let's open question 7. So I have question 7 here. I'm going to open question 7, which is what? Ajiro Tech 1. I'm going to right click, open with Microsoft Expression. Let me preview this. Okay, so let's do that. So I have, there's one that's not showing. Let me see. All the totals are showing apart from Remora 1. Let me see why Remora 1 is not showing. So I have okay, we have to do it. That's why it's not showing. We have to do it. So I have the Remora here. Let me add the Remora here. Let me add just Remora, so we'll probably have an idea. I'm going to save it here, and I'll come here and do this. So this is what we have here. This is the Remora, and you probably see it here. This is the Remora here. Then we need to add Remora 1. Okay, so how do we do this? Now, this is the 80 pixels we have assigned to it. Now look at it. I said, right, to give what? 80 pixels. So if you look at this, the style width is what? 80 pixels. Now for us to be able to do what? The other one, which is what? Remora 1, using two of the methods. We've done the first one to what? 80 pixels. For us to be able to do the other one, we're going to open it in, right? We're going to open it in what? In the paint.net. So I'm going to open this, open with paint.net. And of course, the link to install the paint.net is also available in my YouTube channels. Check any of the recent videos on website authoring. You would see the video link for this, for the software. Okay. So now I have this. So I have this image resize. That's better. So I'm going to change it to what? 80 pixels. This is going to maintain aspect ratio. So if I hit on tab, right, this is what I have. So I click on maintain what? Aspect what? Which if I do 81, it will give me this. 80 pixels is going to give me the height for this because I checked on what? Maintain aspect ratio. So if I click on, okay, let me do save as. Sorry. Let me do save as. Okay, still fine. I will do save as for that, and then I can always save this. So I'll come here to resize. Okay, 80. You probably give me this. Save this. Good. Come to file, save as, and then I'm going to add what? 1 to this, and I'll click on save. So automatically this is what it's going to give me here. So if I come here to save, click on OK. Now look at this. Look at the two files here. This is Remora 1. Let me change this from view to what? Details. And look at Remora 1. Remora. So this is Remora 1. Where is Remora? This is Remora 29. And that one is what? 23. Okay. So if I come here, I can close this. Now if I come here and I refresh, I come here and add what? 1 here to this, right? Without adding this. Now this is one way to reduce it. I can now remove this because this has what? This has been downsampled. So I will cut this. We don't need to add this again. I'll cut this and I'm going to save this. And if I come here and I refresh, any difference? Probably not. Why? Because this right here has been downsampled to what? 80 pixels as the width. So this is essentially what we are talking about. Okay. So this is very important. So we're going to stop here, right? We're going to stop here on episode 4. So we'll stop here. So I'll put this done. Okay. Episode 4. In the next video, we'll begin with the next episode, which is what? Episode 5. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye for now.